And we're live once again. Good evening, folks. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. I'm Mobile Geezer, which you probably know if you're on my YouTube channel, but you could be watching on Facebook on my Mobile Geezer ID or George Hayes, or you could be watching on Twitter at Mobile Geezer. So we simulcast all three every week. And if you're new here, welcome, and please type something in the comments to let us know you're here and let us know where you're from. We do this every Friday at this time, and we go over some of the stories from last Friday to this Friday. So a week's worth of tech stories. If there's a big event that week, I usually try to put it in as probably the second story, just to give people time to get in. As far as I know, there was no huge events this week, or at least I'm not aware of them. So I always try to come up with some stories that I think you guys might find interesting like I do. So let's go over to my website, and I'll show you where that is, and you can see the show notes for tonight. So you go to my website, which is mobilegeezer.com. I'm sorry, which is mobilegeezer.wordpress.com. Click on today's date. You'll get just the show notes for tonight's show. And as we do every week, I'll give you a little preview of what we're going to go over tonight. This I was not aware of. No Place, Gen Z's MySpace. I didn't even know about this app called No Place, but I gather it's way up there on the App Store. So we'll talk about that. And then I just said Google will bring its version of Recall to the Pixel 9. Uh-oh, we got Will in here. What's up, dude? I don't think he has his. Have you got your ears on yet? Okay, I'm waiting for Will to respond.
What's up, George?
Hey, guy. You know I get excited every time you join. This is good.
Yeah, I can't read or nothing, but I figured I'd pop in just so I could chime in so you're not flying solo. I'll stay on as long as I can.
I assume you're at work.
No, I'm not actually. Today I didn't go to work, but I'm driving now, but I got you on Bluetooth.
Okay. All right. So you'll once you get home, you'll come back on?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to pop back in.
Okay. All right. Well, we're glad you're here.
What's going on, George?
Nothing much. How was your 4th of July?
Oh, I work, George. Nothing at all. I went to work.
Why am I not surprised? You're the workingest man I know.
Yeah, I went to work. That was my regular day to work. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I worked on my notes for tonight. I did some research for my stories yesterday. Then I came over here to my man cave at Eleanor's house and put up my stuff on the website like I always do. And then she was kind enough to feed me. And then we went out to not Ben and Jerry. What's the Baskin Robbins. She got her once a year urge to Baskin Robbins, so we went to Baskin Robbins. So all in all, I had a good day. So I'm just going over the stories for tonight, letting them see the preview. So I don't know if you heard them. I'm starting with something called No Place, Gen Z's MySpace. So there's an app out there called No Place. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I heard of it only like yesterday on Twitter. I seen somebody talked about it, but I didn't know nothing about it. I wasn't sure if it was like a joke or...
Okay, well, this would be our first story. And no, I gather it's very hot on the App Store. So that'll be the one we'll start with. Then I'm going to say, I said Google will bring its version of Recall to the Pixel 9. Now, you know that Microsoft got all kinds of issues. Microsoft had all kinds of complaints about it. But this one, you can control manually. So,
but George, you know what?
Make a big difference.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were saying that Android, if they did it, they would have a better version. but he was saying that he's like he doesn't know if people already know, but basically Android already does that anyway. Takes screenshots of everything.
Yeah,
They
but
said they're
but
already
I
doing it.
guess with this, you can pick and choose when you want the screenshots to take.
Yeah, yeah,
I guess
that's what they were saying. They would have more control over it because of
exactly,
how granular Android lets you, go as
exactly.
far as controlling everything.
So anyway, that'll be the second story we go over. Then Google Gemini, not as advertised. I just said, anyone surprised? I got a story on TechCrunch, and they're saying Gemini is basically nowhere near as good as Google says it is. So I just thought that was
Mm,
interesting. Are you surprised, Will? I mean, come on now.
not, but wow.
They ever since they started from Bard on forward, it seems they're constantly, getting in their own way.
Yeah.
So number 4 is going to be just a little quick story. OnePlus 13, one feature, just one feature of the OnePlus 13 could beat the iPhone 15, the Pixel 8, and the Galaxy S24. Just one feature, and I got that on Phone Arena, so we'll talk about that. Then yesterday, I think, was Threads 1 year anniversary. So we're going to have a story about how Threads is doing after a year. Personally, I think it's doing pretty good. And then finally, you're not going to believe this, folks. Any of you old enough to remember floppy disks?
Oh
Well,
wow. The 5.5.
Japan, yeah, Japan is had a little celebration getting rid of floppy disks. I didn't even know anybody still had floppy disks, but I just thought it
Wow.
was a cute. So I mean, they're actually real happy about it. I just thought it was a cute story to have. Probably half the audience doesn't even know what floppy disks are. You know. So those are the stories we'll go over tonight. So happy to have you here. And all right, so people, be happy that Will is here in his car with us. And when he gets home, he'll come back with us, I hope. So meanwhile, I will go to the first stories. That's it. And Brian says, "What up, Will?" And I know Will can't see from his car. So
What's going on, Brian?
all right, so I'm going to go with the first story. And Will, you just jump in whenever you feel like it.
All right, I'm here, George.
Okay. All right. So this is I call this No Place, Gen Z's MySpace, and I found the story on Slash Gear. So why No Place, the new MySpace for Gen Z, is taking over the App Store. And it was written 3 days ago by Nadim Sarwar, I think. So let me drop it into reader view, and we'll find out. This is the first time I've heard about it also. So that's kind of what it looks like on the phone, on an iPhone. It's not every day that a new social media app pops up on the scene and then climbs to the top of the App Store. No place has just accomplished that. The app, which has been in an invite-only stage for about a year, is finally opening its arms to the masses, and so far the reception has been quite buzzy. I never heard the word quite or the phrase quite buzzy before. The feat is remarkable, especially considering what it has to offer. For starters, you can't post photos or videos. Yeah, that surprises me. There doesn't seem to be any flashy social reactions in place. So, more pictures of it on an iPhone. After roughly an hour of usage, I can see why No Place is going viral and the potential it has to become the next trending app like Be Real or a legitimate social phenomenon among the younger audience. There isn't a conventional popularity metric like reposts or likes here. All you have is a number that displays the amount of organic posts in response to the original one. Another curious miss is an algorithm, which is what keeps users hooked on other platforms like Instagram or TikTok, feeding them an endless barrage of content that they might like. So no algorithm at all, which is kind of surprising. Instead, No Place, which is being seen as MySpace revived, puts more focus on content moderation and uses AI to curate a feed. The feed of text-based content is divided into two sections. One that sources content solely from your friends, while the other is like a global feed. Well, that makes sense. The latter is like a global message board in quite the literal sense. Well, I haven't heard the phrase message board in years, where you see an original post with others responding underneath. Needless to say, this is where you find more people to befriend. That makes perfect sense. Okay, No Space has raw social appeal. No Place sets itself apart with a beautiful retro industrial look that has a playful character to it. The app treats profile pages like a graphics heavy social media resume, one where you can adjust the font color, background shade, how the outline looks, and more. And there's a lovely add friend on each person's profile page that will instantly take you back to the Windows 98 era. I can hardly remember Windows 98. So there's what it looks like. Instead of tags and interests, No Place has stars. You can add 3 to begin and add more as you begin your journey. Another striking aspect is that there's no pages deep settings section or a ton of granular privacy tools. What you put up on your profile page is all there is, including your wall. The wall is the feed where you write what's on your mind and others will interact with it. The rest of the profile looks more like a snapbook from school days where you fill your interests, stars, age, gender, relationship status, and brief bio into the About Me section. So there's, I guess, what some of this looks like. It's a pretty attractive app, I'd say, looking at the pictures anyway. A great conversation starter is the there's a currently segment on the profile page where you can add details like what you're eating, watching, doing, mood, or listening at the moment. It's one of the prettiest apps, I agree, out there that truly lets your personality come out with beautiful color-coded blocks and genuine interest. Moreover, based on your engagement, you level up and unlock some exclusive features. So that's the whole story. But yeah, it's a very attractive looking app and nice that you can have so many different colors. Looks good on an iPhone. So he doesn't even say if they have this for Android, and I didn't check. But if it's on iPhone and it's at the top of the App Store, you know it's hot. So it is. So anybody want to check out No Place? Just go down. I haven't even downloaded it myself yet, so I will probably download it at some point. But of course, I'll be old enough to be the grandfather or more of most of the people on there, but that's okay. So that's No Place. Any comment, Will?
It sounds, I don't know, sounds kind of boring.
I think that's only because we're used to, all the stuff we're used to. But for young people that just want to interact, well, it does kind of sound like MySpace or even bulletin boards in the old days.
What's the name is cluttered. Like Facebook is out of hand. Like there's too much going on now.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, Brian says blast from the past. Ruthie says, hey, Will, love my new iPhone 15 Pro Max. Yeah, she put that on one of my videos too. The battery life and cameras are great. So she's loving her 15 Pro Max.
Wait till you get that update.
What update? Oh, you need the 18?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the 18. We're all looking forward to that. I did not, as I said last week, I was thinking about downloading the beta, but I saw I can't remember what they were, but I saw a couple of comments in some other videos, and I said, nah, I think I'll just wait till September. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
we're all
I
kind of
wanna wait till
excited about it.
September so I could feel like it's a big shock. I was thinking
Yeah.
about that the other day. George, as long as you've been using phones, did you ever have like a time where you didn't watch the event so that when stuff came out it was like brand new? You know what I mean? You remember that? Like when I had like
Oh,
my
yeah.
Galaxy S3 or whatever, and they would do the little updates to Android. I never knew what was coming. I would just be
Yeah, I didn't either,
surprised.
but I started watching the events, I guess, with the Galaxy S5. I think the Galaxy S4 was my first Samsung phone. Before that, yeah, I think that was my first smartphone. Uh, but I think when they debuted the Galaxy S5, it's probably the first time that I watched. I don't think I ever watched before that. So yeah, I didn't know it was coming either.
Yeah, I missed
But
that a little bit.
I don't, because I love the presentations. Usually I love knowing what's coming. You know, your Ruthie said, saw the same comments on 18. I'll wait. So she's like us. She'll just wait till September.
I seen they just showed a thing where you can be able to add your cards to Apple Pay just by tapping the card. That's
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
cool. That's cool. Yeah, that is cool. You know, you know me, I hardly ever use Apple Pay or Samsung Pay or Google Pay.
Ah, that's
But
boring, George. You gotta use
I
it.
think the I think the only time I used it a lot was I used to go to Walgreens quite a bit, and I used to use it there. Other than that, I think the only other place I ever used it was McDonald's. But you know, I'm an old man, so you got to deal with it. It's just
It's
how it
convenient. You
is.
don't gotta carry all that stuff.
That is true. And there are times, and Eleanor can tell you this, there are times when I'll walk away from the cash register having used my card and I'll say, oh, I should have used my phone. Keep in mind, I always have two phones on me, often an iPhone and an Android phone. So I always have a choice too. But, you know, old habits die hard, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, I'm going to move on to the next story. And let's see. Okay. And I just said Google will bring its version of recall to the Pixel 9. And like you said, you've heard about this, and I've heard about it. So we're going to go in there. This is on the Verge's site. I think they originally got it from Android Authority, but I chose this story. The Pixel 9's Google AI is like Microsoft Recall, but a little less creepy. A new AI feature could make the screenshots you take on your Pixel easier to search. And this is by Emma Roth, again from Tuesday, 2 days ago. So pop it into Reader View, get rid of some of these ads. The next generation of Pixel phones could come with new Google AI features, including one that sounds more than a little, like Microsoft's controversial recall tool. As reported by Android Authority, Google is working on a Pixel Screenshots feature that can save and process helpful details from your screenshots, allowing you to search through them. However, unlike Microsoft Recall, and I'm sure we all like hearing that, which automatically captures what you're doing on your device, Google's version would only process the screenshots taken manually. That's good, which should immediately make it less creepy feeling than Recall. Microsoft delayed the rollout of Recall on Windows 11 after security experts raised concerns about the feature. It should say after security experts around the world raised concerns, because I mean they were hitting them from every country in Europe practically. Even though Google AI may only use the screenshots you take, it could raise similar concerns based on how the information is processed and stored. Yeah, because that was a lot of the complaints about the security access, the processing, and the way it was stored made it too easy for people to come in and get it. Images obtained by Android Authority indicate that you can enable or disable AI processing for your screenshots at any time. That's good. When toggled on, it looks like you can use the feature to summarize your screenshots or answer questions about the information in them. Google will also save metadata such as links, app names, and when the screenshot was taken to make it easier to search for specific images according to Android Authority. That makes perfect sense. Google is planning to roll out a similar feature in Google Photos that uses AI to help you search through your photo. Now, this sounds pretty cool to me. These aren't the only AI features Google is working on either. In addition to pixel screenshots, Android Authority reports that a new photo editing feature called Add Me, yeah, this sounds really cool, will live under the Google AI umbrella. This feature could let you add someone to a group photo, which goes a step further than tweaking everyone's faces with best take. Yes, I guess you can go out and grab a person that wasn't even in the original photo, I guess. Google will also reportedly add a previously rumored studio tool that could use AI to generate stickers and other images. Google hinted heavily at new AI features for the Pixel 9 in a teaser for its surprise hardware event on August 13th. So far, the Pixel 9 is rumored to come in 3 sizes with a redesigned camera setup that ditches the bar for an oblong bump. So I'm sure we've all seen the pictures of the pink Pixel 9. I'm sure you've seen it, Will. Will's got his.
Yeah, I did.
There
I
you are.
did see it, George. I seen it on I don't know, some website. I seen it,
So
or on
what'd
the
you think
YouTube
of
or
it?
somewhere.
So what'd you think of it?
I didn't like the way the camera thing was.
Okay,
I didn't like
I
it.
personally thought it was kind of ugly,
Yeah, I didn't like
and,
it.
and I saw a bunch of other people that thought it was ugly too. But then I started the next day, I think was yesterday, or maybe the day before. I started seeing some people did seem to like the look of it, so it's probably an
Yeah,
acquired taste.
I didn't like it.
Okay, but maybe it was only
It
because it was
looked.
in pink. I don't know.
I didn't mind the color. It was just the way that the camera was like just there. I don't know. It just seemed like it was so much space in it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It just seemed like it was too
Yeah,
much space on the sides. Like it was just
I,
there. I liked it
um,
before, but it was just one. You know, the camera went
uh,
along the whole thing.
right. Let me stop screen. Let me see if I can go out and find a picture of it. So maybe I can put it up here. Just type in Pixel 9. See what I get. Uh, images. Okay, there we go. Let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, I'm pulling it up from some website. Indian Express. Okay. Let's see if I can share the screen. First, I got to get over here. Just close this. Okay, let me get out of here. All right, I'm going to try sharing screen just to let you guys get a quick look at it in case anybody hasn't seen it. Here we go. The first picture I found of it was on Indian Express, but anyway, that's kind of what it looks like, folks. And you can see the big camera bump in the back here, but that's it in pink. And, you know, there was a few people that somebody put out a video showing it off, and I think we've probably all seen that too. But this is just for anybody who hasn't seen it in pink with the new camera bump. That's it. So just wanted to let you guys take a look at it
I
if
don't
you
know how the
haven't
pixels
seen
get
it
leaked
already.
every year. Every year they get leaked. Every
I still
year.
think I think it's planned, personally.
I don't think Google is planning at this point. I think it's I think it's just because I don't know, Google is just reckless. I can't imagine they want to leak it every time.
Yeah,
I
they
remember
do
that
get leaked,
one year.
and that's why I was thinking it was planned because they get leaked so much, way more than anybody else. You know.
I remember that one year um when when I did think it was planned, I forget. It was early
Right.
on in the Pixel. Maybe it was like the 2 or the 3 where the guy supposedly left it at the bar. You remember?
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I think a bunch of us thought that one might have been planned. And then you started seeing articles about people saying they thought it was planned.
Yeah, so I don't know. I thought that one might have been planned, but at this point, 9 years on, I think it's being leaked.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Lack security, then I guess.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, they're not inspiring us with security then. Okay, going on to the next story. This one I thought was interesting. I just said Google Gemini not as advertised. And then I said, anyone surprised? So I found this on TechCrunch. So let's go over there. And this was from last Saturday, June 29th. Gemini's data analyzing abilities aren't as good as Google claims. So, I'm thinking this is really pretty bad when you go through the whole thing. And this was by Kyle Wiggers. Let me pop this into Reader View, get rid of some of these ads. One of the selling points of Google's flagship generative AI models, Gemini, now keep in mind, these are flagship, the ones you pay for, Gemini 1.5 Pro and 1.5 Flash, is the amount of data they can supposedly, that's the key word here, process and analyze. In press briefings and demos, Google has repeatedly claimed that the models can accomplish previously impossible tasks thanks to their long context, like summarizing multiple 100-page documents or searching across scenes in film footage. Yeah, and we're going to find out maybe that's not so true. But new research suggests that the models aren't, in fact, very good at those things. Two separate studies investigated how well Google's Gemini models and others make sense out of an enormous amount of data. Think War and Peace length works. Yeah, I never quite got to the end of War and Peace. It was just too long for me. Both find that Gemini 1.5 Pro and 1.5 Flash struggle to answer questions about large data sets correctly, and that's supposed to be the strong point. In one series of document-based tests, the models gave the right answer, get this, only 40 to 50% of the time. So half the time at least, they're wrong. While models like Gemini 1.5 Pro can technically process long context, we have seen many cases indicating that the models don't actually understand the content, which is what they're supposed to be doing. Marzena Karpinska, a postdoc at UMass Amherst and co-author on one of the studies, told TechCrunch, Google's context window is lacking. A model's context or context window refers to input data, in other words, text, that the model considers before generating output, of course, its own text. A simple question, who won the 2020 U.S. presidential election, can serve as context, as can a movie script, show, or audio clip. So any of those can be inputs. And as context windows grow, so does the size of the documents being fit into them. The newest versions of Gemini can take upward of 2 million tokens as context. And when I first saw that, I'm like, well, what the heck? Well, he explains tokens, and once you see it, the explanation, it's pretty easy to understand. Tokens are subdivided bits of raw data like the syllables, fantastic. So it's like syllables in a word, in the word fantastic. That's equivalent to roughly 1.4 million words, 2 hours of video, or 22 hours of audio. So supposedly, Gemini should be able to handle that. I guess not. The largest context of any commercially available model. In a briefing now get this, in a briefing earlier this year, Google showed several, here's the key, pre-recorded demos. In other words, by the time I finished reading this article, I figured those demos were just plain faked. Meant to illustrate the potential of Gemini's long context capabilities. One had Gemini 1.5 Pro search the transcript of the Apollo 11 moon landing telecast, around 402 pages, for quotes containing jokes, and then find a scene in the telecast that looks similar to a pencil sketch. Ruthie said, cut and paste demos. Yeah, that's exactly what I think. And keep in mind, I was a programmer for 34 years, so that wouldn't be so difficult to do. VP of Research at Google DeepMind, Oriel Vinyals, who led the briefing, described the model as magical. Yeah, I can see why when you pre-record it. 1.5 Pro performs these sorts of reasoning tasks across every single page, every single word, he said, but not now, just when you have it pre-recorded, huh? That might have been an exaggeration, you think? In one of the aforementioned studies benchmarking these capabilities, Karpinska, along with researchers from the Allen Institute for AI in Princeton, asked the models to evaluate true-false statements about fiction books written in English. The researchers chose recent works so that the models couldn't cheat by relying on foreknowledge. That makes sense. And they peppered the statements with references to specific details and plot points that it'd be impossible to comprehend without reading the books in their entirety. That's good. Given a statement like, by using her skills as an apoth, Nusis is able to reverse engineer the type of portal opened by the Regent's key found in Rona's wooden chest. That makes sense, because if you hadn't read the book, you couldn't possibly know what that meant. Gemini 1.5 Pro and 1.5 Flash, having ingested the relevant book. So both of them supposedly has already read this book, or whatever they call reading the book. Had to say whether the statement was true or false and explain their reasoning. So this is what I guess the true false look like. And this was from Gemini Pro 1.5. Now, the true side says the statement is false because the Regent's key found in Rona's wooden chest was not given to Nusis. The Regent's key found it. Okay. So it sounds like it did read the book here. Tested on one book around 260,000 words, 520 pages in length, the researchers found that 1.5 Pro, get this, answered the true-false statements correctly 46.7% of the time, so still less than half the time, while Flash answered it correctly only 20% of the time, which means 80% of the times it was flat out wrong. Averaging all the benchmark results, neither model managed to achieve a bit higher than random chance in terms of question answering accuracy. All the more reason why I think the presentation was faked. We've noticed that the models have more difficulty verifying claims that require considering larger portions of the book or even the entire book compared to claims that can be solved by retrieving sentence-level evidence, Karpinska said. Qualitatively, we also observed that the models struggle with verifying claims about implicit information that is clear to a human reader but not explicitly stated in text. Okay, so you can understand why a human might understand that and they might not. The second of the two studies, co-authored by researchers at UC Santa Barbara, tested the ability of Gemini 1.5 Flash, but not Pro, to reason over videos, that is, search through and answer questions about the content in them. Okay, so they presented them the videos and then they had to be able to answer questions about them. The co-authors created a data set of images, e.g. a photo of a birthday cake, paired with questions for the model to answer about the objects depicted in the images, e.g. what cartoon character is on this cake. To evaluate the models, they picked one of the images at random and inserted a distractor, that's smart, images, inserted distracting images before and after it to create slideshow-like footage. That's smart. Flash didn't perform all that well. In a test that had the model transcribe 6 handwritten digits from a slideshow of 25 images, Flash got around 50% of the transcriptions right. So half were right, half were wrong. The accuracy dropped to around 30% with 8 digits. On real question answering tasks over images, it appears to be particularly hard for all the models we tested. Michael Saxon, a PhD student at UC Santa Barbara, and one of the student's co-authors told TechCrunch. That small amount of reasoning, recognizing that a number is in a frame and reading it, might be what is breaking the model. So they don't recognize as much as they claim, I guess. Neither of the studies, the heading, Google is over-promising with Gemini, you think? Neither of the studies have been peer-reviewed, nor do they probe the releases of Gemini 1.5 Pro and 1.5 Flash with 2 million token context. I'm sure Google doesn't want them to be peer-reviewed because then more people are going to be talking about how wrong it is. Both tested the 1 million token context releases, and Flash isn't meant to be as capable as Pro. Okay, that makes sense. In terms of performance, Google advertises it as a low-cost alternative. All right, so that's the cheaper version. Nevertheless, both add fuel to the fire that Google's been over-promising and under-delivering. With Gemini from the beginning, this seems like they're having the same issues they had with Bard. Ever since Google's been trying to catch up with ChatGPT, they just can't, and they always seem to screw up. None of the models the researchers tested, including OpenAI's GPT-4o and Anthropic's Claude 3.5 Sonnet, performed well. Okay, so I guess OpenAI and Claude didn't do so well either, but they haven't been promising as much. But Google's the only model provider that's giving contest window top billing in its advertising. So it's saying it can, and it looks like it can't. There's nothing wrong with the simple claim. Our model can take X number of tokens based on the objective technical details, Saxon said. But the question is, what useful thing can you do with it? Absolutely. Generative AI, broadly speaking, is coming under increased scrutiny as businesses and investors grow frustrated with the technology's limitations. That makes sense because these people are going to be, Google and OpenAI, they're all going to be trying to charge these companies hundreds of thousands of dollars for something that just doesn't work right, and they don't want to admit it doesn't work right. In a pair of recent surveys from Boston Consulting Group, about half the respondents, all C-suite executives, said they don't expect generative AI to bring about substantial productivity gains. So they're probably not buying any of it either. And that they're worried about the potential for mistakes and data compromises arising from generative AI-powered tools. PitchBook recently reported that for 2 consecutive quarters, generative AI deal-making at the earliest stages has declined, plummeting 76% from its Q3 2023 peak. So yeah, my guess is back in quarter 3 of 2023, they were faking more stuff, and now they can't fake it so much. Faced with meetings summarizing chatbots that conjure up fictional details about people and AI search platforms that basically amount to plagiarism generators, that's what a lot of people are suing them for, customers, or companies anyway, are on the hunt for promising differentiators. Google, which has raced, at times clumsily, that's been their problem all along, to catch up to its generative AI rivals, was desperate to make Gemini's context one of those differentiators. Well, it doesn't seem it's worked. But the bet was premature, it seems, I'd say. We haven't settled on a way to really show that reasoning or understanding over long documents is taking place. That's because it's not. And basically, every group releasing these models is cobbling together their own. Yeah, cobbling is faking. That's all it is. Their own ad hoc evals to make these claims. Karpinska said. She's right. Without the knowledge of how long contest processing is implemented, and companies do not share this, so they don't tell you how they got to the results. It's hard to say how realistic these claims are. Yeah, they don't want to show you how they arrived there. Google didn't respond to a request for comment. Yeah, I wonder why. Both Saxon and Karpinska, so two separate studies, believe the antidotes to hyped up claims around generative AI are better benchmarks, yeah, and give them the criteria you're using, and along the same vein, greater emphasis on third-party critique. Saxon notes that one or more of the common tests for long contexts, liberally cited by Google in its marketing materials, of course, needle in the haystack only measures the model's ability to retrieve particular info, in other words, info that Google wants to point out, like names and numbers from data sets, not answer complex questions about that info, except that's what they're selling it as. All scientists and most engineers using these models are essentially in agreement that our existing benchmark culture is broken. Good, Saxon said. So it's important that the public understands to take these giant reports containing numbers like general intelligence across benchmarks with a massive grain of salt. In other words, he knows that they're phony also. So, very interesting. So it sounds like none of them are making them work as well as advertised, but Google is really overdoing the advertising. And Will, okay, I'm assuming Will got home because he's not in here anymore. Now, he told me he was going to try to join again once he got home. So hopefully he'll come back. I love having him here and and being able to talk to him. All right, so anyway, I thought that was the most interesting story of this week. So I'm going to go down. I just thought was if it's true, we'll see. Now the OnePlus 13, of course, we don't know when that's coming out, but one feature could, that's the keyword, beat iPhone 15, Pixel 8, and Galaxy S24. So this is a story I found on Phone Arena. And this is from, okay, this is also from Tuesday. Seems like a lot of these articles came out on Tuesday. OnePlus 13 could be rated higher than the iPhone 15, Galaxy S24, and Pixel 8 in one category. That's the key, one category. And it's by Alan Friedman and published Tuesday. Let's drop into read a view. I'll let you guys know if Will comes back in. I must admit to feeling pretty old these days. When you get my age, then you'll know. I remember when the first few OnePlus handsets did not come out of the box with an ingress protection IP rating number. At the time, yeah, I remember that too. At the time, the then fledgling phone manufacturer needed to save money to keep the price of its devices low. They were saying that for a couple of years. With the OnePlus One, a third-party reviewer took the phone outdoors while it was raining to record a video showing that the device could withstand taking a light rain shower. Yeah, because they couldn't afford to pay for an IP rating. No, it wasn't until the OnePlus 8 Pro was released in 2020 that a OnePlus phone had an official IP68 rating. Wait a minute. We've got Big House. Glad you're here. Yes, I had a very good 4th of July. I hope you did also, and everybody else, of course. Anyway, on my fourth story, Will was in here from his car. I think he's gotten home. He's going to join again, so hopefully. Glad to have you here. Okay. No, it wasn't until the OnePlus 8 Pro was released in 2020 that a OnePlus phone had an official IP68 rating. But OnePlus has not always made its more recent phones with the same level of protection from dust and water. the OnePlus 12, which I have, but I didn't bring it to work today, but I did use it yesterday. The OnePlus 12 had an IP65 rating, which gave the phone less protection than rival models from Apple, Samsung, which featured an IP68 rating, which is a shame because I consider my OnePlus 12 right up there with my iPhone 15 Pro Max, and my Galaxy S23 Ultra. The OnePlus 12 is fully protected from dust and water sprayed at low pressure. In other words, you could expect the OnePlus 12 to survive a sweat bath or light rain. The IP68 rating on flagship iPhone, Galaxy, and Pixel phones means that dust cannot enter these devices. Some of these flagship handsets can be submerged in fresh water to a maximum depth of 1.5 meters, which is almost 5 feet, for up to 30 minutes. The iPhone 15 models can carry protection down to a depth of 6 meters, 20 feet for half an hour. That's pretty good. Oh, Big House, thank you so much. You're always very generous. I appreciate it. Ready for that Pixel 9 and OnePlus 30. Yeah, it's going to be one or the other. My guess is I'm probably going to go for the OnePlus 13 when it comes out because I love my OnePlus 12. Next to my OnePlus Open, which, if you guys remember, that was my phone of the year last year, my next favorite phone is my OnePlus 12, even though I have the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Ruthie said, the comparison video with the OnePlus 12 was eye-opening. It had very good color in video. Yes, I think it's excellent. And I've seen other people doing comparison videos against the S24 and the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and half the pictures come out better on the 12. So I think it's awesome, especially for the price. Okay, back to the article. Now that we've mentioned all of this background information, what does this have to do with the upcoming OnePlus 13? Sit back, relax, and we will explain. A post on Chinese social media site Weibo from a well-known leaker says that the OnePlus 13 will feature an ingress protection rating of either IP68 or IP69. If true, at IP69, the upcoming OnePlus handset could sport a higher water protection rating than the latest iPhone, Galaxy, or Pixel models. Devices that have an IP69 rating can survive getting sprayed by high-pressure water jets under extreme conditions. So it'd be nice if they do have it, but keep in mind, it's iffy. It's either 68 or 69. And there's some renders right there, the back rear design. Besides moving from an IP65, which is the 12, to IP68 or 69 rating, the OnePlus 13 is also expected to return to a flat display, which I'd love. I love flat displays. Having curved edge phones has taught me to love flat displays. Big House says, I'm enjoying the OnePlus 12 as well. Great device. I totally agree. Previous rumors said that the OnePlus 13 will sport a 6.8-inch OLED 2K LTPO display with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 application processor under the hood. We might see a massive 6,000 milliamp battery power the device with support for 100-watt charging. That would be awesome. The primary rear camera will feature the same 15-megapixel Sony LYT-808 image sensor used on the OnePlus 12. That's fine with me. Both the ultra-wide and the 3x periscope zoom cameras will be backed with the Sony IMX882 image sensor. This sensor has already been used on the OnePlus H3V model released in China. Speaking of which, the first release of the OnePlus 13 could be limited to China later this year, with an international release pegged for a few months later. And if I remember correctly, the 12 was about a month for the rest of us after China. I think it was about a month later, because I was really anxious to get it, and I'm very glad I did. So it may or may not have a higher rating. We're going to have to wait and see. Because 6,100 million. Oh, he says 6,100, not just 6,000. That would be awesome. Cool. Thanks, Big House. Okay, so let's get out of this one. And I'm still waiting to see if Will comes back in. Now, of course, he might have gotten home and gotten busy with his kids. Who knows? But I was glad he was here. We had a little discussion. And Ruthie said that's a massive battery. Yes, it is. Looking forward to that. Okay. So let's get out of here. All right. On to the next story. Oh, yeah. So how's Threads doing after a year? And I found this on a site called Fast Company. And yeah, yesterday or the day before was their 1 year anniversary. Day before. 1 year of Threads. How is Meta's ex-rival really doing? Meta's app claims 175 million active users, but it's still far from clear whether the app or any other will be the next X. I didn't know it was out to beat X, but okay. So, and this came out on Wednesday by Stephen Melendez. So, into review we go. I hope. There we go. When Meta launched Threads last July, it saw an immediate tidal wave of interest. That's true. 100 million people signed up for the social network within days, prompting many to wonder if CEO Mark Zuckerberg's new gadget would unseat Elon and Twitter once and for all. Let's see. At the time, Zuckerberg expressed hope that the app would eventually get 10 times as many people onto the platform. It'll take some time, but I think there should be a public conversations app with 1 billion plus people on it, he said in a post last July. Twitter has had the opportunity to do this, but hasn't nailed it. Hopefully we will. Now, of course, they have less now, but they still might get there. But as the 1 year anniversary nears, Threads' ascent has seemingly slowed, with the app now seeing about 175 million monthly active users, according to Meta. It's a decent showing, I think so, to be sure, but a long way from 1 billion users. And it raises the question of whether any single app can be the successor to the platform now known as X, let alone expand the format to significantly larger audiences in a time of increased audience fragmentation, and that's key, and skepticism towards social media. Let's see, Big House said, still talking about the battery. Samsung will finally increase their battery size when they see the buzz the OnePlus 13 causes, I would hope. Okay, to the article. I think it's a symptom of a much larger space in terms of all the competition within the micro-blogging place and all the new apps that have come out, whether it's Mastodon or Blue Sky or Post or what have you, says Ari Lightman, professor of digital media and marketing at Carnegie Mellon University. There's a sort of renewed interest associated with less utilization of social media in general, associated with everything from health to productivity to a variety of different things, and Threads came at just the apex of the conversation around that. Yeah, I think they released it at a really good time. Yet Meta remains enthusiastic about Threads, and I think they should. Highlighting recent feature additions like, I didn't know they had all these feature additions because I post all my stuff on there like I do the others. Mike is on there every day too. Highlighting recent feature additions like an API letting developers automate content publishing. I didn't know that. A more customizable web interface, and I haven't even used the web. I think I put it on my computer the other day. Trending topics and enhanced integrations with the decentralized Fediverse network of social sites. I didn't know what Fediverse meant, but it tells us further down. The platform allows users to share photos, videos, and other content, but 63% of posts are text only, according to Meta. Most of mine have some kind of photo, or at least a thumbnail. The Threads team is a bastion of Meta's traditional hacking culture, with staffers communicating regularly with users and rapidly prototyping features they think people will want, like a recently launched tool to show live sports scores. Well, that's certainly going to pull people. It says Emily Dalton Smith, VP of Product for Threads. Oh, Ruthie says thanks, but yeah, I'm on it. I'm always posting on it. I even post all my bicycle rides and exercise stuff on it, like I do the others. And Mike is on it just about every day. Also, I know that. So I like it. Every single week, we're looking at new ideas from the product team and the designers, just pitching stuff. Some of which makes it into the app quickly, some of which never goes, says Smith. The team is really biased towards shipping as fast as possible. Keeping things positive. Threads has found success as a meeting place for user communities focused on broad interests and pop culture topics like literature, basketball, and Taylor Swift. Why am I not surprised? You cannot escape Taylor Swift. I don't care where you go. We had a big launch, and since then, we've been building out product and building out the core features and functionality, says Smith. And I think the most exciting thing is that we're just seeing a really strong, retentive, burgeoning community on Threads and a bunch of sub-communities, which are incredible. Yeah, I think so. I know every day when I go on there, I'm seeing more and more people. I'm seeing more and more people in posts that I've never seen before. So you also get the occasional weird, sexy girls that post the sexy stuff. I just ignore that. Because I mentioned Taylor, Ruthie says, oh my goodness, Tay, all my kids talk about it. Yes, you can't escape her. Okay, like on other social platforms, users can add tags to posts to indicate they're related to a particular topic or community. I didn't even know you could add the tag, so I guess I'll start doing that. Search for book threads, for example, and you'll find plenty of posts showing off bookstore finds or looking for a reading recommendation. In a recent search, book threads posts seem to be overwhelmingly upbeat. That's good. Posts about the recent favorites, glamour shots of color-coordinated book piles, and inspirational quotes about literature rather than rants. That's good. About conversational authors or novels with disappointing endings. That may not be an accident since the Threads team has worked to maintain the app's friendly environment. Good, I hope they keep that up. We've had a ton of feedback and requests to help maintain the friendly tone of the app, Smith says. People really love that about the app. That's meant making it easy for people to control who can reply to posts and providing ways to hide particular threads or mute and block particular. Yeah, I'm always seeing the prompts that you can easily do that stuff. And on both Threads and Instagram, Meta announced earlier this year that it wouldn't recommend political content from accounts people don't follow unless they opt in. Yeah, some people didn't like that. I think that's good. That move has been controversial among some journalists, activists, and others who have suggested that by making political content opt-in rather than opt-out, Meta may be hiding it from some users who want to see it. No, I think that's just smart enough to know people are getting sick of seeing political stuff everywhere they go. Ruthie says book threads would be interested in that. Well, very good. Go check it out, Ruthie. You can report back to us next week. Different hosts for different posts. It may also be a sign that no one platform will fully replace Twitter. I don't think so. Which for a time was a singular destination for short-form text content, whether that meant jokes and off-color rants about current events, announcements from politicians, automated weather reports, or updates about breaking news from journalists and people on the ground. But I think Threads is just as good a place for short-form tech content and short-form other stuff. And Big House says the same as me. Me too. Too much politics. Yeah, I think they're being smart in making it opt-in. What made Twitter exciting in its peak period was that you had many different groups of people all together, and there was accidental cross communication that would happen all the time, and people would be shifting between professional and personal interests, says Kevin Driscoll, an associate professor in the Department of Media Studies at the University of Virginia. And I think now folks have turned to different practices. Some of Driscoll's academic colleagues have moved their conversations to Mastodon. Now, here's comes some interesting stuff because I didn't know it connected to these. A set of decentralized servers connected through a network called the Fediverse. So that's where Fediverse came from. It's the servers, I guess, connected to Mastodon. And some professionals have pivoted to posting on LinkedIn or Blue Sky, the competing X alternative co-founded by former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey. Yeah, I tried Blue Sky. It didn't do a lot for me. Other groups have migrated their discussions to Discord servers, subreddits, or partisan forums like Donald Trump-affiliated Truth Social. And some people have cut their social media use entirely or shifted their discussions to private group chats. Yeah, I mean, they should have mentioned Telegram here to me. Even in a more divided social world, Meta is betting that Threads can have a big role to play. The app just expanded expanded its integration with the Fediverse, announcing last week that users in more than 100 countries can now make posts visible to people using other Fediverse-compatible platforms like Mastodon servers. So I guess there must be things you can click on to make it available to people who are on these Fediverse servers like Mastodon. So that's pretty cool, I think. That option was previously only available in the US, Canada, and Japan. Well, I guess it's many more places now. Those who do so can also now see and like replies from those on other servers. That's cool. And the company has said users will eventually be able to fully follow users on other servers. I think that's very cool. That'll make their users jump up. The Fediverse community overall is very active and has been active on the app for a long time, says Smith. Some potential Fediverse users have found choosing from larger number of Mastodon servers, each with their own posting policies, to be intimidatingly complex. So Threads may find an opening for a user-friendly brand name gateway to the decentralized networks. I guess we're probably going to see more Mastodon stuff on Threads. Looking ahead, the developer API can also be of use to those who want to easily post content to multiple services, says Smith, as well as allowing for automated services posting content like weather reports. Shifting API restrictions on X have reportedly limited how organizations like the National Weather Service can send automated messages to users there, including in emergencies. In general, X users have lamented that the platform is no longer the place it once was for finding real-time news, and Threads features like trending topics and live sports scores may help make it a viable replacement, possibly. Sports and culture are both really big for real time. That makes sense, says Smith, pointing to events like the Tony Awards broadcast and news around Justin and Hailey Bieber's pregnancy announcement. A lot of real-time events have been really positive and exciting on Threads. I remember when you couldn't get on anything without seeing Justin Bieber's name, but looks like Taylor has taken that over. Of course, Threads also has the backing of Zuckerberg's Meta empire. Threads is integrated with Facebook and Instagram, which means users of those popular platforms can sign up in just a few clicks. Yes, very easy. And Meta can remind users on its other apps when there are Threads posts they might find interesting. Yeah, and I get, maybe 3 or 4 times a day, I get notification that so-and-so has posted something on Threads that I might find interesting. And it may not be anybody I know, but it's usually something that I'm interested in, or somebody, a lady today, the last one I got, she had posted a picture with her baby laying right next to her, and it was just a cute picture. And just as the camera came over to the baby looked up and smiled right at it. So it was kind of cute. Anyway, that was the last notification that I got. The platform also doesn't currently run ads, and there's no fixed timeline for when it needs to be monetized, as it currently focuses on growth, Smith says. That's smart, I think. Reaching 175 million monthly actives in less than a year was really exciting for us. Yeah, it should have been. And it was a good sign that we're on the right track, says Smith. And then we're trying to just continue to grow as much as possible and respond to the user feedback as quickly as we can. So, pretty good article. And Ruthie, I'm glad we were able to tell you about it. And hope, yeah, if you go on your Instagram, I think you can pull in threads very, very easily. So, or when you go to the Threads app, you just use your Instagram ID, and that's how you get in. So let me get out of here. Again, that was a pretty interesting article. And my guess is Will probably is not going to make it back. Pardon me. Yeah, Ruthie says integrates with other platforms. That is different. Yes, it is. And I haven't seen that yet, but I'm going to be looking into it. Okay. One more story. And this is a serious throwback, folks. Japan says good riddance to floppy disks. Remember floppy disks, folks? First time I've seen anything about floppy disks in years. And I found this on Tom's Hardware, and I just thought it was a cute story to end up with. So, Japanese government celebrates demise of the floppy disk. 1,000 plus regulations requiring their use have been scrapped. So they actually celebrated getting rid of floppy disks. I didn't know anybody still used them at all. The war on floppies has been won. And this was by Mark Tyson, published 2 days ago. And the Japanese guy in charge here, Taro Kono, he actually says the floppies war has been won. So let's go over to read a view. Japan's digital minister, Taro Kono, is celebrating the demise of the floppy disk. We have won the war on floppy disk on June 28th, so last Saturday. Last Friday. Kono told Reuters earlier today, the milestone decades after the storage medium's heyday was reached as the scrapping of 1,034 official regulations that required the filing of floppy disk was enacted. Back in January, we reported that the Japanese government's planned abolition of the floppy disk as it sought to modernize. Thus, these last few months have been the final hurrah for the iconic magnetic media format in Japan. This is just amazing me. Ruthie says, I remember floppy disks. They were so difficult to work with at my job. Now, see, because I'm so much older and I was a programmer for 34 years, when floppy disks first came along, I thought they were like the best thing ever. But I can remember when they first got popular, too. And this says it was 50 years ago. Back in January, okay. As of June 28th, only one official regulation requires a floppy to be filed. I can't believe they still have one. An environmental stricture related to vehicle recycling. So they're going to keep it just for that one thing. That's weird. As you can see from his 2.5 million followers on Twitter X, Kono is something of a character. He seems to relish his role in modernizing Japan's creaking bureaucracy. He has been vocal about the elimination of long-in-the-tooth formats like floppy and optical disk, and has also been dancing on the graves of fax machines and other analog technologies. Floppy disks were first introduced over 50 years ago, and the largest capacity commonly available disk would hold just 1.44 megabyte of files. I remember that. This might still be sufficient for simple textual data, but richer content can easily overwhelm it. Here, try putting some of today's pictures on there. The hero image in this article was a 3.92 megabyte file before being downsampled and cropped, for example. The retail availability of floppy disks and a lack of supporting hardware in modern devices will also have encouraged their elimination. Sony, the last floppy media maker, stopped making diskettes over a decade ago. On a personal level, I have access to lots of computers, but none have a floppy disk drive, none of mine either, or an optical drive. However, I keep a USB DVD-RW for the odd occasion that I need to dig out an old file. We think eliminating the need for floppy disks and drives from Japanese bureaucracy is a good thing. However, there are still old pieces of equipment ranging from avionics and healthcare to embroidery segments, as well as hobbyists and retro computing folk, yeah, they'll still want them, that will want to keep their precious floppies, absolutely. If you own or run a useful and serviceable piece of equipment that uses floppies for data storage or transfer, then why should you abandon it? Yeah, you got a piece of history then. The same goes for transport systems like the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency's Caltrain. I had to look that up. But there are safety worries concerning the potential failure of their old mission-critical hardware. So I just wanted to end with that because I thought it was such a cute story to end on something that's been around for 50 years, and I thought it was gone, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe? Big House has the same thing. Floppy disks, I thought these were buried back in the night. Yeah, I thought they were going back in the early 2000s, but I guess up until 10 years ago, Sony was still making them. So anyway, cute story I thought that end with. So I guess we're still in the 4th of July weekend, so I hope everybody who's been off, I gather Will was off, and so was Mike today, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see all of you next week. And thank you, Big House, Ruthie, Brian, Eleanor, and I appreciate all the comments. And you guys keep the conversation going and make it worth it. So as always, I'm very happy to have you all here. And let's always remember we all do better when we love each other. See you next week, folks. Oh, and thanks to Will, too.